All right, welcome back, everybody. This stream, going to recommend a couple of channels who are doing great work decoding sports. And again, just a lesson for the people who can't afford a Patreon and are still trying to get better at their decoding. Saturday, we looked at the games for the weekend in the NBA. And we saw, between Saturday and Sunday, the game that looked like the closest to being a lock was the Wizards over the Pacers. And again, if you take your decoding knowledge and you use your tools that you have and look through the games, there'll usually be one game at least. There could be a number of games in a day, but there'll usually be at least one game that looks really, really good. And the reason the Wizards and Pacers game looks so good is because you had a nice riddle on the surface, which we'll get to, but the coach of the Pacers, Rick Carlisle, he had a perfect alignment for a loss. And these are Rick Carlisle's stats after this Wizards-Pacers game. He's coached 1,591 games. He's on 858 wins, and he picked up his 733rd loss in this game. And that 733 was the key number. From his birthday, October 27th, to the game that was Sunday, March 6th, was 130 days later. And the thing about the number 733 is it's the 130th prime number. So in other words, from his last birthday to this game, 130 days, perfect for picking up the 733rd loss because it's the 130th prime, plus they were playing the Washington Wizards. And in the most simple Gematria cipher there is, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, up to Z, the 26 is 26, Washington equals 130. So, I mean, even without the birthday alignment, you'd still be thinking like, okay, perfect team to get the 733rd loss against. But when the birthdays also lined up, and that's what I mean. You know, there were games yesterday that looked like they had a chance. Like it looked like Memphis had a chance to lose to the Rockets. The Rockets were a nice upset. The Rockets did upset Memphis, but you didn't have as strong of an alignment with the coach as you did in this game. That game had a lot better value, but this game was a lot safer play with good value and a strong riddle. As for the stuff that was on the surface with this game, the Pacers picked up their 44th loss, and Wizards equals 44, and the Wizards stayed on 34 losses, and Indiana equals 34. So, again, these are the things you're looking for. And remember, when we started in 2013, we only knew the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So we would have saw the Washington part. We would have saw the Indiana part. We wouldn't have seen the Wizards 44 part. But we learned at the end of 2016, when you just run the alphabetic order in reverse, it's the other half of the code. It's the missing piece of the knowledge. And again, two nice things on the surface and a perfect alignment with the coach. When we uncovered that one in the Patreon, the veterans all started posting their little lock emojis. And again, I don't ever like to call anything a lock because sometimes a really good riddle will fall apart. But more often than not, if you find a game like this, it's a winner. And, you know, the other thing is if you find a riddle that you really like and you're betting in real time, the Wizards were down, you know, significantly at one point in this game. And in a real-time bet, you could have made a good bundle off that. Strong riddles don't fail that often. And as for the upset of the Rockets over Memphis, remember all year we've been talking about the Houston-Memphis connection. A few weeks back, the Memphis Tigers upset the Houston Cougars in college basketball, but we've been talking about Memphis and Houston all year because of Young Dolph and Travis Scott. The day of the Travis Scott concert tragedy, Young Dolph posted to his Instagram a highlight reel of a game between Memphis and Houston in college basketball from years ago, back when Penny Hardaway was on the team. And we said, that's interesting. That was right at the start of college basketball season. And I'm like, time flies. Was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? There was a rapper who was just killed, who's from Memphis, but he was killed in Houston, Snooty Wild. It was last weekend. Because, yeah, he was shot February 25th and reportedly died February 26th. But, again, just this Houston-Memphis thing. So, notice, the Grizzlies got upset by the Rockets, staying on 44 wins. And notice they scored 112 points. Houston equals 112. The Rockets has the 44. So they stay on 44. And the other thing we looked at with this game is we said, well, if they do get upset, the next team that Memphis plays would be perfect for picking up the 45th win against, because Memphis's next opponent is New Orleans, which is 45. You see? So they stayed on 44 versus the Rockets. So often in Houston games, you'll see 112 in the score. Houston equals 112. So does Harden. Big number down there in Houston, 112. But here's the other thing. In light of this game being on March 6th, 3-6, think about Young Dolph and Snooty Wild last week. They're both died at age 36, right? Memphis is known for 3-6 Mafia. When Young Dolph died, he died on Lord Infamous's birthday, founding member of 3-6 Mafia. So now this ritual happens on 3-6. And notice, from the day that Dolph was shot, which was November 17th, the day leaving 44 days left in the year, from that day of the shooting to this game was 109 days later, and shooting equals 109. So all of this stuff is connected. Again, the world of sports and entertainment and news, can't emphasize it enough. It's all part of a script. Professional sports are scripted. And what gets annoying is the people who come by and leave comments and say, well, I don't see nothing. It's all hindsight. You're talking about this after it happened. Again, clean out your ears. Work on your IQ. Again, we put out the picks on Patreon. We talk about these things before they happen on Patreon. What an ungrateful person like you should be thankful for is that I'm getting on here for free and still showing you how to do it. Again, a lot of sorry-ass people in this world, and a lot of you guys expose how sorry you are with your stupid comments. If you're too much of a chump to pay $5 a month for a world-class education, that just makes you a chump. And you don't need to leave a comment. No one needs to hear from a sorry-ass chump. And again, for all the people who don't like how I ran on the haters all the time, sorry, you guys, it's a world full of chumps and haters. And again, I'm going to keep talking to the chumps and haters because that's what this world is. For those of you guys who get it, you're the rare minority. I'm trying to wake up the morons, the masses. And, so again, learn the knowledge. Apply it yourself. It's really not that complicated. It's not that hard to learn your prime numbers. It's not that hard to look them up if you don't know them. It's not that hard to run these words through a calculator. Think back when I started in 2013, I had to do it all on pen and paper. Now there's a calculator. You can type it in and it shows you all 4 ciphers at once. I mean, it's never been easier to do Gematria. But again, you learn the knowledge. It pays dividends. And again, Saturday looked like King James is an underdog, had a great King James ritual. It ended up being the ultimate King James ritual. And again, Rockets looked like they had a chance to upset. You don't need to bet a lot on the Rockets. If you parlayed the Rockets and the Wizards yesterday and you put $5 down on it, you made $50. You don't have to risk a lot to get a big payout with this knowledge. And I encourage all new people with this knowledge. Make a small budget. Make your gambling budget be $10 a week. If you lose your $10, that's it. You wait until the next week to play again. And you pay attention for the rest of the week and study, but you don't use any more money. When you get good, you'll be able to turn that $10 into $100, a few $100s for the week. There's people who've turned $10 into way more than that in a week. But again, you have to take bigger risks to make the bigger gains. But again, with this knowledge, you don't have to bet a lot to pay for your grocery bills. Again, $5 bet would have paid you $50 yesterday if you took those two teams together. And again, the smarter way to play would have been, because it was looking like, again, I never like to use the word lock, but there's things that are close to a lock. This looked real close to a lock. And, you put down a decent bet on that because you have confidence. Like, this is more sure than the stock market when you have a game that's this lined up. But again, you make a decent bet there, just a straight bet, and you win, and then maybe you take a $5 bill and you say, you know what? I'm also going to do the Wizards with the Grizzlies going down to the Rockets. I'm going to try to turn 5 into 50 right here. And boom. Sometimes that'll miss because you didn't have as much to go off on this game, but you're looking and you're like, okay, it makes sense if they stayed on 44 versus the Rockets. We know with the Young Dolph and Memphis and Houston thing. And we do see that the next game is against New Orleans. The problem is that game's not going to have any value. They're going to be a huge favorite versus New Orleans. But still, that's just seeing that's like, well, it'd make more sense if they got that 45th win versus New Orleans. So anyhow, for the people who are decoding daily, like I used to decode every single day. I used to be here 7 days a week doing sports on Patreon. But right now there's 2 people in the world that I know of who are decoding every day, and they're doing a great job, and of course they learn from me. If you go to the website GematriaEffectSports.com, shout out to Jeremy White, he built this website. It has my link up there, But if you're looking for someone who's decoding sports every day, by the way, check out Jeremy, who built this website, How to Bet Online. He has the sports betting online guide right here. Be sure to check out that. And then if you scroll down, Rod is decoding sports daily. Longtime veteran, doing great work. He's built up his community. And, Rod's one of the people that doesn't have a day job anymore. This is what Rod's day job is now, taking advantage of rig sports. And Victor, who was on last night on the GematriaEffectNews 24 stream, this is his page, Mr. Futures. These two gentlemen are doing decodes daily, and both of them have about the same strategy. What they like to do is find the best game of the day, or maybe the two best games of the day, and just roll with those games. And again, you can learn from them. And again, the one thing that I like to do that they don't like to do as much is find more games and lay down that $5 bill and try to turn it into $100+. They're not into that so much. They're just into mostly finding the best game of the day, like the Wizards type of game. And they both go about things different ways. So if you study from both of them, you will learn different things. Rod's kind of gotten more into the astrology moon cycles piece, which is definitely interesting and definitely important. Victor's staying true to the formula that I've always taught, and just really looking for the strong number alignment, stuff like this. But Rod also does this. So anyway, GematriaEffectSports.com is where you can find the links to Rod and Victor's page. Martin also does great work, but I don't think Martin's decoding right now. So just a heads up on that. If Martin's out there and wants to leave a comment in the notes, if he's back to decoding daily, you'll see his name in the chat. He goes by Martin. So anyway, congrats to the winners, and I'll be back full time for March Madness. We don't miss a March Madness, and we'll do the major golf tournaments and horse racing and all that. And eventually, when I finish my projects, we'll get back to decoding a few times a week. But the guys who are doing it daily right now, Rod and Victor, and they're doing a good job too. So we'll keep it short and sweet. And here, let me check in with the chat real quick. Bo Jackson is in the chat, and okay, I know Bo Jackson does good work. Bo says, I decode NHL and NBA daily as well as props. So Bo Jackson, if you guys see him in the live stream chat here, I'll copy his Patreon. He's a veteran of the community too, and probably somebody who belongs on the website that I was just showing. But I can vouch for Bo Jackson. He's a longtime student and a good contributor to the community, so he's got a Patreon too if you want to check out Bo Jackson. He's here right now. Okay, and Bo Jackson's making some other observations about yesterday's game, so he saw even more stuff that he liked to it. And okay. Yeah, I'm just checking in to see who else is in the chat, but yeah, but Bo Jackson's another legit one, so yeah, the Rams in Ukraine thing is funny, especially when you realize Sean McVay's girlfriend is from Ukraine. So anyway, congrats to the winners. We're going to keep it short and sweet. I got to go back to working on the book. And until next time, Truth Seeker.